A sanctuary full of worshippers, a man with a gun and a grudge. All that stands between the churchgoers and tragedy is a lone security guard. Shocking act of violence number 14 is the Colorado church shootings.
Anyone that has a public meeting place, churches, malls, whatever, they need to have a contingency plan in place. And fortunately for us, for many years, we have prepared for the absolute worst. Well, on December 9th, the absolute worst happened.
December 9th, 2007 was the day that Matthew Murray decided to unleash carnage.
24-year-old Matthew Murray lived in the upscale suburb of Englewood, Colorado, with his parents and his 21-year-old brother.
He had a very religious mother who was very strict with him.
She would search his room for DVDs and CDs and music to make sure he wasn't listening to anything or watching anything that she didn't approve of.
He was feeling rejected, ostracized, a lot of angst for being essentially a prisoner in his own home.
As a teenager, Murray enrolled in a Christian outreach program called Youth with a Mission, also known as YWAM.
He was the type of person this church was trying to help, but he was also a very troubled person.
He was dismissed for some behavioral problems and health problems. That was several years ago. He just never could get past that.
5 years after he was expelled, Murray returned to the YWAM branch in nearby Arvada, Colorado. Instead of a Bible, he carried a backpack full of guns and ammunition.
You got a mental health issue and you have a person who's well armed, and that's really a bad combination.
Shortly after 12:30 a.m., Murray asked staffers at the center if he could stay the night. When they refused, Murray shot and killed 26-year-old Tiffany Johnson and 23-year-old Philip Kraus. 2 more people were injured. The shooter then fled the scene. 12 hours later on Sunday afternoon, Murray showed up 70 miles south of Arvada at New Life Church. Thousands of families were on the grounds of the Colorado Springs Religious Center. Former Minneapolis police officer Jean Assam was a member of the church. She was also working security that day.
I saw it on my computer that Sunday morning that there had been a shooting at this religious facility. I saw that the gunman was still on the loose, and I got chills. I don't know why, but I had a feeling he was going to come to New Life.
About 1:10 p.m., Matthew pulled into the parking lot.
He took a smoke grenade and threw it on one end of the building to divert our volunteer security team. Drove his car down to the other end of the building. Eyewitnesses say he put his head on the steering wheel for a few minutes.
A few spaces down, the Works family was in their car, preparing to leave the church.
When he got up, he opened the car door, put a magazine into his assault rifle, got out and walked real purposely toward the Works family.
I believe I heard a pop, looked over my shoulder and saw a guy in black with an assault rifle.
As Murray began shooting, David Works watched helplessly as his 16-year-old daughter Rachel was hit.
She fell back onto the pavement. I saw him again point the gun and felt my belly rip and fell to the pavement, not having gotten to Rachel all the way.
Meanwhile, David's wife Marie witnessed the shooting of another daughter, 18-year-old Stephanie.
I thought, she's been hit in the head, and then I started to look for a pulse, and I couldn't find a pulse.
Stephanie died instantly.
I wasn't sad at that point, because I knew she was in a good place.
Still shooting, the gunman wounded 2 more people as he walked toward the entrance.
I had my gun out, and people were screaming and running past me and sideways into hallways and rooms and bathrooms to hide. And then I heard someone say, "There he is, Jean. He's coming in the doors right now."
Gina Sam, by this time, had strategically placed herself in the hall. She did not know that Matthew would come into the doorway with an AR-15, 1,000 rounds of ammunition strapped to his body, and 2 loaded pistols.
Murray was prepared to kill hundreds, but Gina Sam wasn't about to let that happen.
I said, "Police officer, drop your weapon," and I shot him 5 times, and he shot at me 4 times. The bullet holes in the wall behind me showed that he should have hit me. but he didn't.
Wounded, Matthew Murray fell to the floor. He then put his 9mm pistol to his head and fired.
Had it not been for Jean Assam, the rampage would have continued. Either way, this woman's a hero.
It shows what having someone who's been trained and tested and prepared for the shootout situation, how that can make a difference in saving lives.
Jean refuses to take all the credit for her heroic deeds. She has another explanation.
As soon as I stepped out from behind cover, I felt just a rock-solid protective shield around me. And I'm not kidding, just like I could feel God.
In the aftermath of the killings, investigators determined Murray frequently posted anti-Christian tirades on the internet.
Biggest thing is getting schools, campuses, or companies to take it seriously. And what we tell them is if they broadcast it, you believe it, and you take action.
We don't live in a culture where we have the luxury of ignoring red flags because of the potential for this kind of serious violence.
Two communities struggled with grief and anger. The parents of the two slain girls, Rachel and Stephanie Works, met with the parents of the gunmen at New Life Church.
To see the family of the murdered daughters embrace the family of the shooter and ask one another to forgive and ask one another to pray for them, it was pretty amazing.
Both families also met Jean Assam.
And I'll never forget what Ron Murray said to her. The dad of the shooter looked at her and said, "We're so sorry that our son fired at you, and we want you to know you did the right thing."
Up next, stocks, bonds, and bloodshed.